up, y'all? We're back with Brutally Simple Cooking. Before we begin, we've gotten a lot of good feedback. I'm gonna answer a few questions. Why am I wearing a jacket at my place? Because I refuse to cut the heater on. Am I a professionally trained cook? No. Am I professional? No. But I got a lot of heart, and that counts for a lot. Did I come up with the phrase pro tip? Yes. So if you see it anywhere, like Lowe's or Home Depot or any other big name companies, they took it from me. All right, so let's begin. Today we're doing pulled pork in an Instant Pot because the only thing I've ever used my Instant Pot for is bone stock, potatoes, and rice. So I need to broaden my horizons. I want pulled pork tonight and for tomorrow and for a few days. And I've never done it before in the Instant Pot, so we're gonna do it in the Instant Pot tonight. So what I did is I got 3-4 pounds of pork shoulder roast, so it's a lot of fatty stuff in it, and I cut it up into 4 big chunks. So we have this right here. All right, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna season it just a little bit. So first we've got about a tablespoon of pepper. You can do like less than that, like teaspoons or something. And then I've got a tablespoon of salt. And then I've got a tablespoon of coconut sugar. Now, I understand what you're thinking. We're going beyond salt and pepper, but this is for pulled pork, so we're trying to make it a little bit flavorful. And don't worry, sugar's so little, it's still gonna be relatively low carb. All right, so now we're just gonna coat all this to the best of our abilities. Super simple, we're just kind of patting it around. This is all gonna get mixed in as we're cooking it anyway and pulling it apart. This is just to give it a little bit of pre-seasoning. All right, so there's our pre-seasoning. All right, now next we're gonna turn this on to saute so I can heat this thing up, and we're gonna brown the sides of the pieces of pork. Now to brown it, what I'm gonna use is a big spoonful of ghee. Ghee is good to cook with at high temperatures. Ghee is also known as clarified butter. It's got a little bit of flavor. I'm just gonna put a big chunk of that in here. All right, now that this is nice and hot, we're gonna take these 4 chunks. We're gonna brown each side of them for maybe about a minute. Browning a couple of pieces at once. All right, so brown, flipping it over. All right, so to make way for the other pieces, I'm just gonna put these on a plate. All right, now, once you've browned all the pieces of pork, they don't have to be perfect. The browning gives it a little better flavor. And then also you've got some of this brown stuff here in the pot. So what I'm gonna do is cut this off. All right, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of water to kind of deglaze this a little bit. I'm also gonna add some leftover barbecue sauce that I had sitting in the fridge. It's just whatever I got. That looks like about I don't know, a quarter of a cup. And that's Primal Kitchen, by the way. And then I'm also gonna add about a quarter cup of ketchup that I have left over that I just haven't used in forever. And again, this is just for flavoring. It's not a whole lot of sugar, it's all good. It's gonna be mainly meat and fat, okay? Now, I'm just gonna deglaze this just a little bit, try to get some of the burnt stuff off the bottom. Still keeping this to a very, very simple process. Having a lot of fun with it. It already smells amazing. So now we're just gonna put the pork back in here. We got a little bit of liquid, a little bit of sauce. And we got about 3 to 4 pounds of pork that's been browned. This did not take long at all. We're gonna put the top on, make sure that it's set to seal. And then, if I'm not mistaken, because I got to read this upside down here. Where are we at? Boom, 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 boom. Meats, and we're gonna put this to, let's do 60 minutes. right, yeah, that's right. We're doing 60 minutes. So we will be back in 60 minutes to unveil the success, which I know it's going to be a success. All right, here we are. The timer went off a little bit ago, and it has depressurized. So we shall see what this looks like. See how tender, oh yeah, it just falls apart for sure. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this out and shred it. And as we do that, I am going to put this on saute once again, so that the juice kind of cooks down as I'm shredding up this pork. Which, by the way, the pork is super soft. Like, it looks really good. All right, now the pork is pulled. And if we bring this over, we should see it being on saute setting. It's reducing. That's what we call it, reducing. When this gets down to kind of thick, we'll add back in the pork. We'll mix it all up. All right, so we've reduced this down to about half. So we're gonna cut off the saute function, and then I'm just gonna add all this pulled pork back in here and mix it all up with this. It's kind of a condensed sauce now. It smells amazing, it looks amazing. And voila, we got our pulled pork. We're gonna taste it. All right, now, here's our finished product. To bring this back to brutally simple, we started with a big piece of meat, 3 or 4 pounds, cut it up into 4 cubes, salted it, peppered it, put some coconut sugar on it, coated it really well, browned it, took it out, and then put a little water in there and some leftover ketchup and barbecue sauce and made this kind of like little liquid reduction sauce looking thing. Threw the pork back in there, cooked it for about 60 minutes on high, pressure cook, and then pulled that out, shredded it. Meanwhile, we're dehydrating or reducing the liquid that was in there to make it like a thick kind of sauce, or relatively thick. And then we put everything back in there, mixed it all up, and that's what we got. So this took me about an hour and a half of work, and I've got enough pork to last me probably a week. So, and wait, we haven't even tasted it yet. So let's taste it. This is my first shot at pulled pork in the Instant Pot. It's amazing. It really is. It's freaking great. Now, pro tip. Just because you've never done it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.